Blessed Keys. Blessed Keys presents Voices.
Good morning. Welcome to Voices, our podcast from Blessed Keys Ministries. I am Reverend Grace Reyes. I'm the founder and the current president of this nonprofit, non-denominational, faith-based ministry. And we started during the pandemic, and we've been growing ever since, so going on 5 years. I'm a member of Center of Life Church in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I also am so excited today to bring you our series, which we have been doing for the last few weeks when we first started this podcast series. And it's called Faith Walkers. And today I'm excited to be able to bring to you our special guest, John Gomes. He is running for mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I do believe that he's going to be our future mayor. And so I'm very excited today to be able to uh, uh, introduce him to those that may not know him in our podcast. But I really, truly believe that he has been such a stellar example of our Faith Walker series. He has walked in faith. He has believed God for this win, and that he can manage and lead this city into the light, into prosperity. And we're just so excited to be able to bring him today. Just a couple of housekeeping things. I will be introducing John, and from there, he's going to have an opening statement. I will have some follow-up questions, and then he will then close us out with a closing statement. John?
Greetings, Reverend Reyes. Good. Thank you for having. I was going to start speaking my Spanish,
How are
but
you?
thank
Such a
you,
pleasure to see you, sweetheart.
thank you for having me. I'm humbled to be here to talk to your viewership. Um, I can only begin to tell you that what has happened in our campaign is beyond us. Uh,
Yes.
there is a higher power that's controlling the destiny
Amen.
because our campaign has been grassrooted for the people,
That's right.
about the people. And we've reached the people to say, listen, we in Bridgeport are living the consequences of what we see is not being done for us. And as long as we continue to let others that are not vested in Bridgeport, we're going to continue to go through these consequences that's impacting us, our financial status, our quality of life, and our kids. When we talk about education and everything that's happening.
And
And
and John, that means that without the children being educated, you have no future.
no, without a doubt. I mean, I sit here before you as a product of or a member, not a product, but a member of the Bridgeport public education system. And I continue to fight for them because I'm fighting for my children that went to the school system
That's
here
right.
and those that are attending now and those parents that, whether through cultural barrier, language barrier, they feel they're not being represented correctly. And I'm here to fight for all Bridgeporters.
That's
And through this campaign trail, we've come across things that's unimaginable. We never thought we would be here, especially in February. We're under special circumstances where, we discover
true.
God gave us the fortunate to uncover atrocity when you talk about voter suppression, violating our civil rights as residents of Bridgeport, and presented that in court. And the court said, you know what? You were misrepresented. There was a crime committed against you, against the voters of Bridgeport. So we're going to give you opportunities with two new elections, both the primary and the general. And here we are. Um,
Still standing. Still standing, John.
Amen. And this is a story that, again, as I said, there's a higher divinity that's pushing me in this direction because the strength that you need to carry on against the David and Goliath story that we're living,
That's
as you
right.
like it's amazing. And for me, it's the inspiration from above, it's the inspiration from within, it's the inspiration from the pastors, the churches, the prayer warriors that keep me on this mode. And I wake up every day and I go to sleep every day asking God for more strength and guidance,
Yes,
because we believe in what we're doing, we believe in the cause, we
absolutely.
believe that ultimately we will be victorious. But it has to be unified, it has to be with one focus, and it has to be through that strong faith that we believe that we're here for a purpose. And that's why, through avenues such as this podcast, to talk to the voters, to say, if you believe, continue to fight, because we will prevail, God willing.
So, describe for me, John, if you will, your relationship to Bridgeport's legislative body and to its delegation to Hartford.
Well, I've always respected those in elected office. My campaign has been about an inclusive sense, to bring them in, to say, listen, these are the problems that we have. We need help to fix the issues that we're having in Bridgeport. From a funding perspective, that Bridgeport, we're not getting enough funding for the Board of Education from the state and federal. We're not getting enough from the economic standpoint. That you have to understand, we're living in Bridgeport where our budget keeps increasing, um, nearly 80 million for the last 8 years, and yet our taxes are high, our streets are dirty, we're down 138 officers, and
Wow.
yet we have the selected few in the city of Bridgeport who are benefiting. They come here, they take a paycheck from us, and they leave. And then, we have grants opportunity that hasn't been taken advantage of fully. I mean, we call Bridgeport, but yet we have some of the main ports, such as Congress Street Bridge,
Yes, you
that
do.
that hasn't been opened since 25 years ago, and preventing the connection from one side of the city to the predominantly minority area in the east side. We have a Majestic Theater that has been shut since 1969, a landmark right in the entrance of downtown. We have Still Point, a project that over 54 acres were taken from the hardworking people of the east side,
I
and yet
remember.
23 years later, we have a four-story building and nothing of it. As a matter of fact, as of today, we don't even have a hotel in our city. So my fight and my push with the legislative body is for us to come together and fight for what's right for Bridgeport. But at the same time, I must say that I'm disappointed in the lack of action that has happened or hasn't happened from
Yeah,
our legislative body, because this campaign has uncovered tremendous amount of corruption, crime against the voter of Bridgeport, and
yeah.
we have put forth evidence not only in the court but in the public forum, as they're readily available, and they know what they are since September, and none of them have denounced the crimes that have happened, have asked for termination of those that have committed them. As a matter of fact, we still
And they
have
were open. It was open. It was proven. It's not an
very much.
allegation or an accusation. It is proof positive that they committed a crime, yet they're still being paid.
Very much. I mean, they're on administrative leave while getting paid and committing the same absentee ballot fraud. You have other elected officials in city council that won because of that fraud, and they're holding position and they're making decision currently for their own benefits. That's impacting us, the city of Bridgeport. So when you talk about my relationship right now is that I'm in front of them, asking them, when are you going to say something that makes sense to us Bridgeporters, instead of staying quiet or endorsing a town committee and its chair who has taken advantage of us. How can you endorse a mayor who, has now brought in the industry back to Bridgeport, um, continues to suppress the Freedom of Information Act that's been requested by the people, over 2,000 requests that has been ignored? How can you submit a budget that continues to go up? How can you approve of a mayor that takes advantage of a system and actually reduces his personal real estate tax by 66% while we're paying the highest as we can pay? And a mayor that doesn't fund education fully, gives it minimal a year. So my relationship with those in the elected office, it's not there, because I'm truthful and I'm talking about what we, the people of Bridgeport, are feeling and what we want to be changed. And we cannot accept the silence anymore. And if we the people of Bridgeport really want change, we got to hold those accountable, from the governor to the state senators to the state representatives to our city council responsible. We got to stand up and speak and say enough is enough, and it's time to vote them out, because it's we
It
the
is
people.
really, yeah, because what you're advocating, what I hear from you, John, over and over, what you're advocating is that people do have a voice, that there is power in the numbers.
Without a doubt, what has happened is that you have a voice in Bridgeport that has been suppressed, has been quiet, because they feel disenchanted, they feel on the sideline, they don't feel as if they want to participate, because they've been their hopes has been dimmed. But this campaign has created an uprise and a spirit where the people feel the voice can be heard
That's right.
if it's shouted loud enough, that their vote does count, and if they show up to vote. And that's we continue to encourage the people: do not accept the status quo, do not accept those that are in office that are not doing their job, because ultimately we the people have the power to show up every 2 years, every 4 years, and vote them out. And also tell the people, listen, we have commissionership position that they should be sitting in to represent their community. We have NRZs, which are neighborhood revitalization zones or areas that have committees that they could speak on what's happening in their community. We need to be active, or else we're going to continue to suffer the consequences. And that's why it's super, super imperative that in this crossroads that we're at, in this time that's unexpected, that we the people, must show up and vote these people out, because or else it's not going to change. And that's the honest truth. But we the people have the power.
So I have the next question I wanted to ask you, John, is what are the three most critical issues confronting Bridgeport right now? What would you do about them?
Well, the first thing is credibility, is transparency. Right now we have a government that the you know the people of Bridgeport, whether they're out and saying they don't trust it, or they're saying it behind the scene by not participating, there was a lack of trust, there was a lack of confidence, there was a lack of credibility. And now more than ever, when the evidence of the videos that show voter absentee stuffing, illegal stuffing at the ballot box, the stolen votes, that has really dampened. And that's one of the problems, that we need to restore the integrity of the electoral process here in Bridgeport. And that's why we keep advocating and fighting strong, and asking all and any elected officials to step up and try to present bills and resolution that's going to change that. It's really not about party affiliation. It's about we, the people of Bridgeport, whether you're Republican, undecided, Independent, Democrat, we're suffering that consequence where there's that lack of trust, and we need to change that. Me as the mayor of the city would be working very hard. I would be working very hard to not only restore integrity in the voter reform, but also integrity in the sense of government. I want to make a government where we, the people of Bridgeport, walk in City Hall and feel like, wow, that government is working for me. And that's one of the top things. The other thing, it's our economic growth. Our city of Bridgeport really do not have an engine to say we have an industry, whether it's the financial sector, hospitality sector, whether it's the medical sector, medical, we have two of the best hospitals around.
Yeah.
But when we talk about medical manufacturing, or we talk about artificial intelligence, those such an industry that are career oriented, we don't have in Bridgeport. And why do other neighboring cities and towns have them? Because they have people fighting for them. And that's what you need with me in office. I will be in Hartford, I will be in DC, fighting to bring those jobs back to Bridgeport, where we could create a thriving economy like it was once before. And we have the resources, we have the infrastructure, we have proximity to New York, we have 22 miles of water accessibility, we have the resources. But the problem is the people that are in charge are hands off, and they're in for themselves. And and whenever you have someone from the outside either speak up or show a difference, you put to the side, and you're being said that you're being negative. No, we're being real, because we are living that consequences. And the third thing as we had talked earlier, education. We need to fully fund education. We need to make sure that our teachers well paid, that our parents are well paid, that the kid have a notebook to write on and a book to read and an actual pen. Not that the teacher needs to take money out of their pocket to go and buy them, or
That's
that the athletic director or the coach of a team has to take money out of his pocket to go and buy uniforms for our kids so they could feel at least they're showing up to participate in athletic activity. That's where with that I'm planning to hire at least 10 to 12 grant writers to go out and research and look at where we could get these resources to make sure we could give the resources that's needed to our children. But
Do
you
you
know,
feel that the money's out there though, John?
oh, there is money out there. Let me tell you, if right now, if you look at some political position job, you could fund education right now off the top of that, because these are not only political position, but these are positions that they're not performing. They're not doing anything for the city. My one of my first goal within the first 45 days is to put in 1.5 million back to Board of Education to match the budget request they did last year, which they only got 2.5. Listen, if the mayor could have 7 cars and 4 drivers, I'm sure we could find money to put in education, and that's the fact that we have here in Bridgeport under Joe Ganim.
My gosh. The next question I'd like to ask you is, how would you describe your faith walk? You know, we're doing a series on faith walk, and I know you and I have had conversations
Yeah.
about, the difficulties that have arisen from this campaign, but I also see the unbelievable hand of the Lord. Also. Uh,
Well, I would tell you that we could sit here and talk a lot about that and the influence it has become in my life. And I've told you, and I've said to the pastor that I've always been, coming from a Catholic religion, I've always been faithful. But through this process, I've gotten to know some remarkable pastors that really carry that Bible and hold that integrity at that pillar, um, that hold that integrity when they're at the pulpit. And to me, I've gone into a spiritual mode. I've grown spiritually tremendously in believing that what's happening around me and around us, because every time something knocks me down, something is picking me up.
that's his
And
hand.
and I believe that there was a purpose, because to be in this position today and still have the people supporting me and have the energy and finding the light behind the darkness, the light behind the negativity, the light behind the false narrative, the light behind the oppression, the hope. I can only tell you that it's coming from up above. So to tell you that spiritually, I'm 127 million% in, because it's what's lifting me up. It's what's keeping us moving. And I believe there is a purpose. There's a higher purpose why we embarked on this journey with one mindset, and now it has become a symbol of representation for those not only that feel disenfranchised, but it has become a symbol of those that feel that we brought to light the crimes, the oppression, the voter oppression that we've known somewhat existed years ago, decades ago, and to still walk every day
That's right.
and remain where we at. It's only from up above, and it builds my inner strength day in and day out.
That's right. That's right. I believe that too, John. Um,
Amen.
my next question is, what would you say directly to the voters if you had the opportunity to just have? What would you say to them? This is your opportunity to talk directly to voters, people that not only the supporters, but people that don't maybe not know what is going on politically in the city that they work in and they play in and they learn. What
Well,
would you say to them that is important to you? For them
well,
to
I would begin by telling them, listen, I'm real. I'm not here to tell you or sell you a story,
exactly.
because that's the trait that has been labeled with politician. I'm in the political arena, but I'm a person that's living like you, the consequences. I'm in that same street, same neighborhood, same corner store, same church. I'm paying those taxes. My children went to the school system here. I know that the streets are dirty. I know our crimes are up. I know when you call that 911, you're waiting for a while. I know that you walk into City Hall, you're frustrated over the inability for you to have the answer to the question you have. And we all are channeling and going through our own hardship differently. But the fact is that we're living in the city of Bridgeport, where if you look at your current lifestyle, your current situation, we have to say to ourselves, are we doing better than we did 5 years ago, 7 years ago? And all of this are under more or less an administration or a democratic committee that has been guiding the city for the last 50 years. And what I'm saying to you is that give somebody an opportunity that's from Bridgeport, that's grew up in Bridgeport, that knows Bridgeport, that has worked in city government to understand that when they tell me we don't have, I know, yes, we do have. The problem is you don't know what you're doing with it because you don't care. You're not vested in my community, in my street after 5 o'clock at night. And I'm here. So what I'm saying to them is if they give me that opportunity, it'll be a 4-year term. And if I don't do the job, they could elect me out.
That's so true.
I guarantee you that Bridgeport will be set forth in a direction that only God knows. Because I will tell you very humbly that my heart and my mind and my conscience is 120% in here, and we are committed. And hopefully, the people of Bridgeport understand that we need a change. They have to understand that we're here because we caught the other side committing a crime, disrespecting us, taking us for advantage. And as you walk your kid to school, or as you get in your car to go to your job, or if you step out with your significant other at night to go eat, ask yourself, how comfortable and how safe do I feel in this community, not only from the security standpoint, but from the economic standpoint, from the educational standpoint, from the political standpoint, and equally important from the social perspective. Can I see my kids growing up here the way it is? And if your answer is no, guess what? You need to show up on February 27th, and vote row C. And that C stands for change. It stands for your children. It stands for the community. And that's what we need to do.
That's a great, great statement, John. I'm going to give you the opportunity of one more question that I have is why should the voters vote for you?
Because I'm Bridgeport. I live Bridgeport. I breathe Bridgeport. I am Bridgeport. My Bridgeport is in me. I am so grateful to Bridgeport for giving me the opportunity to come here as an immigrant from a country, third world, developing country, west coast of Africa, without a mother, without a father, without a green card, to come here and chase that American dream. The opportunity started in Bridgeport. It started in the hollow section of Bridgeport. It is there that I grew up. It is there that I chased that dream. I went to a public school system from Columbus School to Blackham and Central. I had the opportunity to go to UConn, came back, invested here in Bridgeport, opened a couple of businesses. I went and worked inside City Hall because I wanted to fix stuff.
Right.
And when I couldn't compromise with them, they said, no, you have to go. We're going to fire you. I was like, well, do what you want. My commitment remains firm, and it's not going to move against the people of Bridgeport. So I would tell them that I'm a reflection of them. I'm a reflection of all of us. And we got to look at those leading our city and say, do they really represent us? Are they living our consequences? And do you feel they're going to do anything differently than what they've done for the last 20 something years?
That's right.
This is the biggest city in the state since 1836, has not had one minority mayor, and yet we make up over 84% of the population. We have the knowledge, we have the experience, we have the work sets, the skill sets, but we keep giving opportunity to others. And now it's time for us to take it and own it and deliver it. And the only way to do it is on February 27th by going and cast your ballot. And God willing, I ask you to give me a shot on row C.
Amen. Amen. Now,
Amen.
I just wanted to give a quick background, because everybody asks themselves, so what's his background? You mentioned that you were a product of the Bridgeport school system. You went to UConn. I also heard in another podcast that you have a master's.
Yes, I have an undergrad in marketing, a master's in Master of Science in International Business. I work for Nestle USA, and I also work with Nestle Foreign Division, both here in the US, and I work in Bahamas, Bermuda, Aruba, Borneo, Curacao in the Foreign Trade Division. I
Wow.
worked at small retail stores, 10,000 of them in New York City. Um, I came back. I had two positions with the city of Bridgeport. One is to look at transparency, accountability, and efficiency, looking at how to eliminate the wasteful spending. And obviously, when you put the data to light, people don't like it. They try to make you the bad guy, but no, it's simple the data that you're not maximizing the potential of the city. And then I had the opportunity because I gave this current mayor a second chance to make a right out of wrong, which he's not doing. He will not do. I led the city and looking at the divisions, the 41 divisions within the city. We had put many recommendations on the table, which were not acted upon. And that's why we're living those consequences that's impacting us, including what I mentioned about the city being 138 officers down. You know, and from there we have I have a small business experience as a owner of local businesses trying to develop them. You know, it's a venture, and the qualifications are there, and
Right.
we can do the job.
Yes. And I want people to know that, John, that you're not just coming there running because you came from the neighborhood. You educated yourself, you prepared yourself, you are ready, you are qualified, more than qualified for that position. And people should be confident in that. That if they vote for you, they're not voting just for just not just for a movement or a passion, but for a competent person that has been there and
And I relate to Bridgeport. I mean, every corner in every neighborhood, I could speak,
yeah,
Spanish, French, Portuguese, English, and those that I don't learn, I'll go and learn them.
that's right.
But I represent our community. I am a reflection of Bridgeport.
Well, John, I want to thank you for coming on this program today. I am honored to have you here. I am praying you through. I believe that you are the light at the end of this tunnel, and I'm going to continue to pray and believe God for your victory. I again recommend to vote YOC on Tuesday, February 27th for the changes and to put our confidence in someone that can do the job. Uh, as a closing statement, John, what would you tell your voters?
First of all, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you for the prayers and Pastora Hernandez and other great leaders from a pastoral sense here in the Bridgeport. That has invigorated the group of the prayer warriors who continue to light candles and pray for me day in and day out. I want to say thank you for that, and I want to say thank you for what you guys do with our community. It's just not four walls, but it's walls where people come in and feel loved. Um, from the food drive to the clothing drive to helping the homelessness. I mean, you name it. You guys have done it all, and that's what we need. And with me in office, I will uplift organizations as such even higher, because these are the organizations that's the beacon of light. That those are the these are the organizations that's going to work in making sure our community is safe
Right.
and provide for themselves. And my only word to those that are watching, I would say, pray, look into what has been and what can be, and do some research as well. For those that do not know me, go to my website,
Yep.
understand my four pillars, my reason, which is, we talk about education, economic development, we talk about public safety, we talk about a government that's efficient. Read about me. If you need where I'm at, we're at 2196 East Main Street. We're right there in a place where we could be seen and touched. And we're not doing this just because it's political season. I'm around all the time.
All the time.
So the thing is that it's our choice to make it different and better, or is our choice to stay stagnant and keep going backwards?
That's right.
Because the resources and the opportunities that's our hand, and I would tell you that we must unite stronger than ever. We must come together and make a difference for that one Bridgeport. And the important thing is this: and the general election coming up on February 27th, it's not about party lines. If you're a
Nope.
Democrat, you could vote for me. If you're an unaffiliate, you could vote for me. If you're independent, you could vote for me. If you're Republican, you could vote for me. Because at the end of the day, I'll be making decisions that will make the education stronger for your children, the streets cleaner, more police officers on the street, more paramedic as far as resources they need. And then really construct an economic engine that's going to be consistent, not only political time, but something that's going to work for all of us. And I want you to know that with me in office, when you walk into City Hall, you're going to have a City Hall that works for you. And if you feel that doesn't happen, I will create a 1-800 number that you will have direct access to my office, and you will get a response within 24 hours to make sure that that Bridgeport, or the Bridgeport that we will create as your next mayor, will be a representation of Bridgeport for all of us. Because my campaign, although it says a movement, it's a movement for all the people, with the people, and by the people.
Amen. That's wonderful.
Amen. Amen. And keep
Thank you.
praying.
Yeah, we're going to keep praying. We're going to, I'm looking forward, please. I just want to remind everybody, row C, Tuesday, February 27th. It doesn't matter what party you come from, just vote for John Gomes. Our future
Amen.
sits in his hands, and we are confident, and that's why we recommend him highly to you. Have a wonderful day, and God bless everyone.
God
And
bless.
John, again, I'm looking forward to Tuesday and to see you and also pray you through to
Amen.
victory.
God
Amen.
bless. Thank
God
you.
bless you again.
Wow.